Alright. Ooh, this is a bit early. Whatever, I guess. Chapter 10. Okay. So I just killed her uncle and now I'm home. Yeah, this is recording. I don't know, I keep checking. I guess it's gonna stop recording. At first I thought it was a dream. I was staring at this strange sheet, not really understanding what it was. That was all. I didn't go after it, nor did I, um, ridicule it. The fact that the boring view was the ceiling of my room, but I didn't realize that for a fairly long time. I got inside at night. Yes, I thought I'd been dreaming, but I'd actually been staring at the ceiling the whole time. Um, lethargy induced by the voices of the cicadas. Even after realizing I was awake, I couldn't draw full the strength to sit up. Is it morning? It looks bright outside. Everything I could see, everything I could hear, everything was like a television broadcast had already ended. It was hot. So hot I could choke on the heat. My back was moist with night sweat, and it felt gross. Unable to endure any longer, I tossed in my food and finally blood started coursing through my brain. I lazily recalled the long day I had yesterday. The reality as I lay here, listening to the listening to the voice of the cicadas, and yesterday, so different from it. In order to kill Satoka's uncle, I had rehearsed, formulated a plan, and dug a hole. It was very hot, and I was tired, wasn't I? And when evening came, I went to school and called him out on the phone. Panicked for a moment when he asked where the police station was, but it worked out. And then I awaited him and swooped down. I couldn't remember any more. What sort of emotion had let control my body? In any case, it didn't go smoothly, but I did. I did it. It was very hard to dig the hole for the body. That feel of the rain pelting down on me, I don't think I'll ever forget it. The rain, the mud, and the sprays of blood. The sensation of floundering in a swamp. When I met Takano-san on the way home, that wasn't good, no matter how I interpreted it. It was the most misfortune and uncalculated thing that happened that night. Everything would have been perfect if only I hadn't encountered her. Ah. I was just riding my bike with my shovel in one hand through the downpour, utterly soaked. So Takano-san was like following me yesterday, right? So I already know Takano's dead 24 hours before in the second chapter, so maybe she's dead in this one. And then I also heard footsteps behind me, like in the first chapter. So maybe the footsteps is Orishiro-sama or a demon trying to incite Orishiro-sama's wrath, like his actual wrath, not this fake curse. This curse could just be like a thing to bring Orishiro-sama's to this to like do something to Himizawa, like come out of I don't know Onigaiushi or something. So maybe those footstep thingies is that demon slash Orishiro-sama that transferred from Takano-san. I was just riding my bike with my shovel in one hand through the downpour, utterly soaked. There was no way someone could summarize I was a murderer burying a body just from that information. Now that I was thinking about it calmly, napping under the morning sun, that's what I thought. Still, the more I thought about Takano-san's eyes, it seemed like she understood. Takano-san, she knew that I'd killed someone, buried them, and that I'd be on my way home, exhausted. Takano-san wouldn't gain anything from sending me out to the police, but that didn't mean I could feel at ease. I should have killed her. I'd crossed such a bridge to get my tranquil life back, and I had finally achieved it as a result. But now for the rest of my life, for all the tranquil days starting today, I'd have to live in fear of when they could suddenly end. I may have twisted my ankle, dull from total exhaustion. The fact that I couldn't make the snap judgment I needed to, I regretted it more and more as time went on. You didn't have a choice, Kichimabara. You didn't have any choice at all. You were tired. You were a mess. Even if you had made the decision, you might not have been able to kill her. She might have just been you instead. In that sense, parting ways uneventfully could have been the safer option. No matter how sharp the Constance's intuition was, she had no proof. Her suspecting me didn't amount to evidence by itself. Logically, I know that, but it doesn't mean that I don't have to worry about it, does it? Just worry about it when the time comes. Now isn't the time to be worrying. It's the time to be smiling, right? You've accomplished so much just to gain a new lifestyle today, didn't you? And you should be happy at this new morning. Remember the past if remembering the past is too hard for you, then just consider everything up to yesterday as having never happened. You said so yourself. You'd bury it all like it never happened. While your wish came true, everything before yesterday never happened. So be happy, Kichimabara. Yay! I stuck up my hands lazily. Felt a little silly for me to be the one doing it. I heaved a sigh from deep in my belly. That sigh got my lungs moving. It felt like I hadn't been breathing up until just now. It wasn't enough to admonish myself over. Other dice that could be thrown already have been. The numbers that turned up weren't bad at all. If I lost with those numbers, then I just have to give up, I guess. I grabbed the chest of my pajamas and flapped it back and forth. Cool air flowed out over my sweating body. Okay, nothing before yesterday happened. Nothing. Nothing at all. I forgot it all. Yesterday was all a dream. What time was it? About midday? Getting myself up and going to school this late seemed kind of absurd, but I needed to go. I felt like going to school would be the first step to my peaceful new life. I didn't care how late it was, I would go. I would go to school right now and get back to the life I had retaken as soon as I could. My lazy body immediately became lighter at the thought. I rolled up out of the futon and bounced onto my knees and then leapt up by it. Nice! Stuck the landing. I stuck out my chest with pride and my gymnast-like pose, then took a deep breath of fresh air. The brisk morning air had been gone for a while, replaced by the crisp air of summer. Downstairs I got it stern talking to from my mother. Where were you last night? When did you get back? You need to tell me when you won't be home for dinner, things like that. But considering the importance of what I'd accomplished yesterday, a little scolding was no problem. In fact, it even felt like the sort of thing that would happen in such a peaceful life. I listened with an irresponsible smile and stepped out into the sun overhead. It's around the time our lunch break would be ending. Everyone would probably be worrying about me. I didn't go to the festival and now I wasn't at school. Well, maybe they weren't too worried about it, since they would have gotten a small piece of news, but a happy one, from Satoko today. It was a small piece of news that Uncle hadn't come home last night. Satoko would probably live her days in nervous tension for a while, thinking he might come back home. But eventually those days would end, and finally Satoko too would realize her uncle was never coming back. And then Rika-chan would quietly invite her. She would say, "You can live with me again," and everything would go back to normal. Our lives would go back to how they were before that man appeared. Satoko would start wearing that extraordinary smile complete with those protruding canines, and fool everyone with those traps she was so proud of. I'd probably be her first target out of everyone, but I wouldn't be mad. In fact, I might actually shed a tear of joy at the return of something so normal. Satoko should eventually go back into that meddlesome personality of hers. I mean, my lack of useful life skills was already completely exposed. I wondered if I'd ever be a match for Satoko, but that would be such a pleasant thing to see too. And with such warm, fuzzy predictions, I didn't feel bad for going to school so late. In fact, I wanted to run there now to get there as soon as I could. So I decided to save the peacefulness of just going to school like normal without running. The world I'd obtained for myself that gave me joy just by walking like this. Yes, the world beginning on this very day was something I'd won. Without that mental feat yesterday, I would never have been able to come to school so cheerfully today. The school gates came into sight. Just then I heard the principal ringing the bell to mark the end of the lunch break. It was a clear, refreshing sound. I stopped despite myself and let myself take it in. Tap. I had suddenly stopped, so there was an extra footsteps. With the noise, the blasterness I was feeling about my body withdrew into any pool I could find. And as if to replace it, I felt like hundreds of heavy caterpillars were crawling up my feet. I turned back, but of course nobody was there. A single footstep could have easily been my imagination. but the footstep felt so ominous. The extra footstep I had heard when I seen to Kansan off last night. The only thing that happened on that insane night, I didn't mind something like that happening once. It had been a hell of a night after all. In fact, having just one hallucination was pretty fortunate. Those footsteps should have ended with yesterday, so if I heard it again today, there was really only one thing it could mean. Last night still wasn't over. It was still going. Still, an insane night forever. The step I heard, just that one extra footstep, was quietly of ridiculing the nonsensical notion that the world starting today was completely different from the one that ended yesterday. My classmates playing in the schoolyard all vanished inside, like the tide going out. When I approached the school, it felt like the warm fuzzy scene had ended. It didn't feel good. Oh, I might not meet it up with Rena today. At the entrance, I took a quick look into everyone's shoe boxes. I guess I woke up too late. Toko Hojo, she was here. Mion was here too, and Rena, of course. Even Rika-chan was here. Tomita-kun, Akama-kun were here. In fact, I didn't see any missing classmates. If there were shoes missing, it would have to be my own. Took off my shoes and stuck them in, then took out some slippers. There wasn't a single pair left in the shoe boxes anymore. With that, they returned to their rightful state. But as I stepped onto the wooden floor, I noticed there was just one pair of slippers left. Huh? Whose? Satoshi. Hojo. Satoshi had never been to school since disappearing last year. Till now, we had committed the exact same acts of violence, but I guess in the end, it went differently. You couldn't make it to school, but here I am. I didn't repeat the same mistake you made. I wasn't about to let myself feel superior about that. In fact, I felt an odd sense of familiarity with him. A misfortunate bond, somebody I've never met, due to following the same fate. I headed down the hallway and towards the usual classroom. It felt like it had been a whole year since coming here. Hey, did you forget Kichimabara? Satoshi Hojo didn't redisappear the night I was in Higurashi, did he? Satoshi Hojo disappeared a few days later, on Satoku's birthday if I was right. It wasn't Satoku's birthday. I didn't know what day it was, but I couldn't say for sure I would avoid Satoshi's failure unless I remained here past that day. You don't know when her birthday is either? Ah, sucks. I was still living in that night of insanity. The teacher still hasn't come to the classroom. The other doors are clattered open, the one the teacher wouldn't use, so everyone turned at once to see who had arrived. Everyone looks pretty vacant. Suppose I'll greet them. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. I do thank you all for coming out here today. Silence. When I started to think I'd fallen flat, somebody finally laughed for me. Good morning, Ki-chan. You're pretty energetic today. Yeah, energetic. Maybe you hadn't gotten out of the festival mood yet. How hearing Mion and Rina cheerful's voices made me realize how dumb those dark feelings I'd been having at the entranceway were. Hey now, festival mood, I wasn't at the festival, I all remember. Before I could say that, Rika-chan smiled at me. Kichi, did you make sure to watch my dance? Yep. He saw it just fine. Didn't you see that big round of applause he gave you? What are they talking about? And he ignored it when that blockhead Shion came up and made a pass at him. Hahaha. Take that, Shion. Wow, that felt good. Mion started laughing at the memory as she stabbed me a few times on the back. So how did that target practice contest turn out in the end? Tomita-kun was facing me and talking. There was nobody behind me. That meant he was talking to me. Tomita turned out dead last. Everyone had a good time with this punishment game. Huh? Punishment game. Wait. This is like chapter 2, except I didn't go to the storehouse. Because you said I was applauding at the Rika-chan's thingy, and I think the shooting range happened in chapter 2, right? Or was chapter 2 the eating competition, and this is a chapter 1 thingy? Yeah, I think this is chapter 1. Did I go to a different dimension? Did I switch timelines? Maybe. When you're supposed to be the one in last place, Rika-chan? It was such a turnaround when you pulled off getting that chewing gum. I should have expected that from a member of my club. was fantastic. Flying at a time like that is a feat only Rudy would be allowed to do, said Akama-kun, breathing heavily from his nose. In my direction. Everyone laughed. If anyone but Rika-chan had done it, it would have been against the rules. Rika-chan gave one of her Nippon smiles as she listened to it. In my direction. Rina too turned to me, turned towards me, and then, with a somewhat embarrassing smile, she whispered to me, only I could hear. Well, really, thanks, Kichi-kun. For what? That giant stuffed animal. I was really happy. It's nice and safe at my bedside, and I made sure to give it a good night kiss before bed too. How? Okay. So, after the Tatarigoroshi in chapter 1, did I even talk to my classmates, or did I instantly go into spying mode? Because maybe, for some reason, chapter 3 happened in chapter 1, and I just didn't show up. And then that would mean chapter 1 happened in chapter 3? This whole time, the conversation had been a little bit off. I wasn't quite getting it. What's this about a stuffed animal? What's this? Come on, we all worked really hard at the festival to get it down, remember? The gigantic stuffed animal. The gigantic stuffed animal. Mia seemed taken aback, but when she answered, she did it with a smile. We're having a hard time knocking it over, so we tried aiming at the forehead in rapid fire and shooting stuff. And then Kichi-kun, you got a bunch of guns ready beforehand and shot them all. It was really cool. How? Wait, who was this? All the people in the neighborhood association, including the chairman, were praising you so much at the party afterwards. One of them said you'd fallen in love with your way with words. Takuzo Kimiyoshi, the chairman of the children's committee, I think. He said he wanted to entrust you with a few of the stalls at the next festival. Takuzo, in the chair of the refreshment booths, is on the festival executive committee. Biosan is great at making things sound good, isn't he? Yep. Whenever he talks about something, it seems a lot better than it actually is. You can't say that. Kichi-kun, you'd be a great salesman. If you did a bargain sale on bananas or something, I bet it would do great. Go great. So, is the ghost footprints then like overlapping timelines? What have you been talking about? I mean, I didn't go to the festival in the first place. I swallowed those words. I didn't know exactly why, but in Himizawa, this is what happened. Yesterday during the Watanagashi festival, Kichimabara had appeared. That's me. And he roamed about with all the usual members of his club. He made a big scene at a few of the stores, snatched a few sticks of takoyaki and okonomita in his glee, rating each of them as delicious or terrible, rating each of them as delicious or terrible to get everyone excited. And had seen a gigantic stuffed animal at the target practice game, and everyone went for it after it. Maybe that is chapter 2, I don't know. Then I got a whole bunch of the guns, firing them in quick succession, throwing each one away after using it. And admirably, I shot down the biggest stuffed animal there. Then I gave that stuffed animal the proof of my victory to Rina as a gift. Then our fun came to a close as we had to go see Rika-chan's obituary dance. There were 10 people squeezed in there and we all got separated, but we each managed to get into positive positions to cheer Rika-chan on from. Then in the middle, Jion came up and asked me to hang out with her. Instead of watching the dedicated dance, I refused and stayed put, watching the dance until the very end. So this is like the second one, except I refused this time. But who? Who was that? Well, everyone's been saying it, haven't they? Kichimabara had an urge to yell in anger at my classmates for having so much fun talking about the festival yesterday with Kichimabara. What the hell are you guys even talking about? Far stronger than that feeling, though, was the sheer uncanny nature of this reality I couldn't understand. Yukichi Mabata, who wasn't me, was in Himizawa yesterday, as I threw away my humanity, turned into a demon, and was busy beating Satoko-chan's uncle to death. I was having a great time at the festival last night. What the hell? I had to suffer through so much, desperately holding back tears, getting so worn out in that downpour, digging holes, chasing, beating, and killing, dragging and burying. Who was this Kichimabara who has ignored me so and spent such a fun, carefree time at the festival? Damn it! Perfect alibi though. Who the hell stood in for me as I put my life on the line, working so hard to achieve this treasure-like everyday life? If there was another Kichimabara besides me, then what was I? Then I watched Nagashi where one died and one disappeared, in accordance with Orishiro-sama's curse, and was only a demon? Well, there was only a demon who had killed someone. Dumbfounded as I succumbed to a horrifying possibility, I looked at my classmates. To make sure there wasn't nobody extra I didn't recognize amongst them. To make sure I wasn't among them. It was a horrifying thought. The real Kichimabara hadn't overstepped and had come to school on time, and that I, who was no longer Kichimabara, had just waltzed in here. But no matter how much I checked, the only people here were the ones I knew. The man I met every time I looked into a battle mirror was not here. Okay everyone, time to start afternoon class. Please take your seats. President, please lead the class. The teacher entered and everyone hurried back to their seats. Upon finding me who was stupidly late, she gave me a stern token to, but I wasn't listening to it at all. Wasn't our old life supposed to start again today? Something wasn't right. It was just strange. I was supposed to go back to my old, fun life after yesterday. I had set foot into an incomparably mysterious world that was completely different from both my old life and my recent one. Yes, this was without a doubt a different world than the one I'd been living in until now. There was no way such an absurd thing could be possible, but unless it was true, I couldn't explain anything that just happened. In this classroom, I was surrounded by so many faces I knew, and I felt isolated. The cicadas sounded no different than they had before now, but this seemed somehow false. The air was parched and dried too, making me think, was the air in Himizawa always this uncomfortable? Higurashi? Hey Vina? What is it? We were in class, about the festival yesterday. About when would you say I got there? Huh? To be honest, I was pretty excited afterwards, and I gulped down some cans of beer. I mean, it's kind of embarrassing, but I don't quite remember some things. For some random bambling, it wasn't a bad excuse. Kichi-kun, you said you couldn't come at first, didn't you? You called Mi-chan's house about it, right? That matched? I called Mi-an and told her to take Satoko in my place, since I wouldn't be able to meet up with them due to things I had to do. We all decided while we were setting up for the festival that we'd invite Satoko-chan. We wanted to bring her out somewhere where she couldn't see her uncle for a while. That was the same too. Mi-an said that when I called her, that everyone had already decided to invite her. And then we all went, me, Mi-chan, and Rika-chan, to Satoko-chan's house and brought her out. Satoko-chan's uncle seemed like a really mean person. That part didn't matter. What I was trying to ask was, well, when did I meet up with you? How could you forget that? Ichi-kun, I think you shouldn't drink until you're an adult. Or whatever. When did I meet up with you? Well, at my sudden threatening demand, Rina was at a loss for words. Oops, I shouldn't have rushed that. I told her I was sorry. It was at the shrine grounds. It was unexpected. You were talking to Rika-chan, weren't you? Yep. You were having a fun conversation with Rika-chan in her shrine maiden outfit. And then Rina came up and said how I'm taking you home. I was talking to Rika-chan, and I asked Ki-chan, didn't you have something to do today? And you pounded your chest and said to yourself that letting loose at a festival was more important than some silly errand. I didn't say that. I never said anything like that. I never even went to the shrine ground yesterday to begin with. Well, the only errand I had was murder, so I don't know why I would say that. I never had time to stop by a place like that. I went to dig a the hole as soon as I woke up yesterday. I had a pretty hard time doing it. After that, I snuck into the school and made a call. I called him out and lay in wait, and then it started raining really hard. With that kind of downpour, the festival should have come to a halt. In other words, it ended then. Maybe I went into a reality where, Kichi just, didn't commit the murder. From the time the festival started to when it ended, it would have been impossible for me to have swung by the shrine grounds. I was already there when Mion and the others had dragged Satoko out and brought her to the shrine, and I was talking to Rika-chan. Then where would Rika-chan say we met? Teacher went out to wash her hands, so I went over to Rika-chan's desk and asked her directly. With you? Yeah. We were talking to each other before Mion and the others got there, right? When did we see each other? When and where? I don't know what you're trying to ask. I drank some beer and I lost some of my memories. I don't remember a thing. It looked like Rika-chan brought into my babbling. We saw each other when the mayor and the others came out of the assembly hall. You were in front of the ritual implement storehouse. Huh? What? The ritual implement storehouse? I've never heard of a building called that before. Or maybe I have. At the very least, I wouldn't know where on the shrine ground it was. The mayor got really mad at you since you shouldn't go near a holy place without authority, remember? Ichi, did you forget that too? I was too scared to ask anymore. Well, that doesn't sound right. The more I asked, the more it became clear without any doubt that Kichi Mabata was present at the Furuji Shrine Ground during the Higurashi festival. So, was it Orishida-sama taking my place? Cause that's where the Orishida-sama statue is, isn't it? The clearer that became, the more doubts and fears I had. Who on earth was I yesterday? Whoever that was, he had a good time in my place. I managed to go the entire day without letting them notice I wasn't there. You're right. When did that person leave everyone? This morning my mother had got mad at me for having stayed out so late last night, which meant at the very least that Kichi Mabata hadn't come home while my mother was still awake. The festival would have been closed because of the downpour. Very cool, right? When I went back to their house's storeroom to get a shovel, I think the clock said 7. Since it was already raining hard by then, the festival would have had to close down before 7. If I returned that early, I would have definitely run into my parents. At the very least, they wouldn't have asked me when I got back last night. So the Kichi Mabata from yesterday, that meant he never went home. That meant the downpour happened, the festival was broken if everyone left. But he didn't go to the house. That means. When I arrived at the natural conclusion, a wicked chill suddenly froze my spine and I climbed to my brain. That meant Kichi Mabata was the same as Satoshi. One day he never went home. On the night I watched Higurashi, he never went home. The downpour interrupted the festival, and on the way home he suddenly disappeared. And I, who was dealing with that corpse, went home without a problem. I was so tired I wasn't even hungry, so I went up to my room without a sound and crawled into my futon. Who was I? That much was obvious. Kichi Mabata. Kichi Mabata was me. There may have been another one, but I didn't negate the fact that I was Kichi Mabata. Then that other Kichi Mabata was what? The voices of the cicadas steadily filled the classroom, were beginning to bother me. Suddenly I laid eyes on Satoko. Satoko's expression was dark as always. She seemed completely exhausted. After a life of agony, you couldn't even imagine an ending too. Why had last night been for Satoko? Did she have fun with everyone and feel a little happier, even for a moment? And when she went home, the end of her dream, she'd probably have gone to sleep afraid of when her uncle would return. And then this morning, her uncle hadn't returned home, and then she went to school. Right now, she must have still been trapped by that rotten idea from which she couldn't be saved. That uncle would need her when she came back. But you can rest easy, Satoko-chan. Your uncle won't come back anytime soon. I couldn't tell her it was because I killed him. Satoko realized on her own that her uncle would never return, and that would truly be the end of the long insane night. That's right, I didn't do anything wrong. Yeah, I guess, but I don't think this is our world anymore. At least the original world that I started in. I did the best possible thing I could have as Satoshi's Nini. Or maybe Kichi died that night. And no, that doesn't make any sense. Because then why would I have memories of something like that? I don't know. That's why I didn't do anything wrong. I did the best possible thing I could have. Satoka's Nini. Not an atom in my body regretted it. And look, calm down and think Kichimabara. From a certain point of view, isn't it convenient that there was another Kichimabara? I buried the corpse perfectly, a beginning wouldn't happen. But if worse came to worse and he got out, and the investigation got to me, I knew and I had a strong alibi, able to profess the fact that I'd been at the Higurashi festival. But the skepticism is so creepy and using it as an alibi. Still, if I proved I hadn't gone to the festival yesterday, it would do no good and a whole lot of harm. That was what left the really actually bad aftertaste. You will forget about it, Kichimabara. Everything that happened before today. So just forget about the Kichimabara who were there yesterday too. So let's wash it gently over Satoko for the day that smile returns, and the day that would mark the end of that insane, all too long night. Okay. That's all for today, class. Please go straight back to your homes, everyone. Present if you would. Everyone stand up, at attention, bow, goodbye. I thought about many things and so my thoughts dissipated, dispersed by many other things. I didn't know whether or not that time had been spent worrying or daydreaming, but either way it came to an end along with the class. Nice. Cheerfully, our classmates got their things and ran out the hallway. Neon, Rina, and Rika-chan were packing up as well. What about Satoko? This whole day she seemed deflated. Well, her uncle may not have returned last night, but she wouldn't have known he'd never return. How much I wanted to express that fact to her. Satoko packed up her pencil case and Matt's workbook messily after a dark glance at the clock and heaved a sigh. Then went to leave the classroom. Then suddenly somebody placed a hand on her shoulder and stopped her. Who did that? What is it? I watered the plants like I was supposed to and got all the printouts done. I was possessed by a persecution complex hurt. Spoke loud so everyone could hear. Hey everyone, why don't we have club today? It's been a while. Satoko's had to tend to her uncle, so club was on hiatus. In our minds, our club was proof of a calm, peaceful life. By enjoying being together, I wanted to make Satoko realize her dark days were over. I'm okay. I'll do it. Meep. Well, I mean, I don't mind if it's okay with Satoko, under a condition. That was important. Everyone was up to Satoko. Satoko gave a worried look. Come on, Satoko, it's been a long time. Let's go crazy. Well, I'm happy you feel that way, but your uncle might already be home. And thus spoke her darkened eyes, her mouth unmoving. You've been choking on life every day for a while. You must be about to suffocate. It's not good for your mind or body. Once in a while, you've got to have some fun. Please leave it alone. It's not like I don't want to do club again. That one would, but she looked down. Satoko, you know as well as everyone that it's more fun with everyone else, right? We're friends. That means we can spend time with each other. I mean, you had a great time at the festival yesterday with everyone else, didn't you? Rina nearly said something, but she was too late. Kichi-san, what are you saying? My arm on my shoulder seemed to weigh her down as she threw it off. When exactly was I playing around and having fun at the festival? The only one having fun was you, Kichi-san. Huh? I looked over for Mion for help, but now everyone was looking down. My instincts told me that Satoko hadn't gone to the festival. But Rina said it herself as she went with Mion to Satoko's house. Satoko's chan left on the way there. She didn't go to the shrine. But why? I realized the absurdity of what I just said with Satoko in front of me. She said her uncle was waiting for her home and she couldn't have fun by herself. When we were in the front of the shrine, well, we tried to stop her too. We told her her uncle said it was okay and that he wouldn't get mad if she had a good time. At some point, tears began to well up in Satoko's eyes. Satoko was so afraid of her uncle that she couldn't even allow herself time with her friends. Huh. Well, I think that was different from the other timeline too, because I did call her uncle, and it didn't sound like Satoko was there. No, she was even afraid of letting herself have a good time with her friends. Kichi-san, You must have it nice, having a blast at the festival all night. They told me you went all out, didn't you? I'm very envious. Smiling to herself, her tears began to fall. I must provide for my uncle. It's completely different from you, with how you let your parents do everything. This is Satoko. I'm so glad you enjoyed yourself at the festival. I'm glad you had fun for me too. I mean, I want to participate in club too. Making such a racket with everyone is so much fun. But right now I can't. Unable to withstand such violent emotions. A few teardrops slid down her cheek. Even though she was having such a terrible time, not once did she ever say that it was hard for her. It was a sad, obstinate, uh, bravery, obstinate bravery. But the days when Satoko had to feel like that were over. Satoko didn't need to endure anymore, bear it anymore. She could forget about it all now and smile. I was so furious at not being able to tell her that directly. Instead, I said something that I'm not sure I should have said before I thought. He didn't come back home, did he? The words were deeply meaningful to me, but I didn't know if Satoko understood them. Didn't come home who? He didn't come home last night, did he? Your uncle? What are you talking about, Kichi-san? Satoko shouted with all her might. When was he not there? When? When? Calm down, I mean, he didn't come yesterday, did he? I don't understand what you're trying to say, Kichi-san. This is Satoko, what are you talking about? I mean, that man, I killed him. I killed him yesterday. Killed him for sure. And I buried him. Buried him whole. He could never return to his house. Even yesterday he was torturing me so much, he yelled at me. He shouted at me. He found fault with everything I did. He did know I made him on the floor. He dumped his bowl of minstrel soup on me too. It was hot. It was messy. And I cleaned all of it up. I cleaned all of it. Wow. What? Our stories weren't matching up. He lied? And this morning when he woke up, he woke me up to make him breakfast. He got so mad at me. He would have got mad at me whenever I got up or not. Wow. This is Satoko. Rika-chan went over to Satoko and said a few words of consolation. Satoko angrily refused those words and thrusted Rika-chan away. Nini, come back. Wow. So he's... Yeah, so I think I might went into a reality where I didn't kill him, huh? Well, that's not good. I have to kill him again then. Crying, Satoko slowly walked out into the hallway. After a moment, Rina went over after her. I couldn't stop thinking about the words Satoko had spoken while crying. I buried her uncle last night. She said this morning that was impossible. I buried him last night, so she couldn't have seen her uncle this morning. What was Satoko? At that point, I heard Mion's cold voice. Hey, Ki-chan, what did you mean about Satoko's uncle? Gulp. I said too much, I let my emotions get the better of me. Rina heard it too. You said Satoko's uncle didn't come home. Why? Why didn't he come home? That's strange. Satoko's uncle was right there this morning, wasn't he? So why would you say he didn't come back? Kichi-kun, you've been saying such weird things for a while. Suddenly Mion and Rina spoke in strange, creepy voices. What were they doing? What were they saying? Ki-chan, is it somehow inconvenient for you for Satoko's uncle to be around? You know, what are you talking about? Of course it would be best Satoko's uncle wasn't here. Yep, that's true, of course if he weren't here everything would be right. Hahaha. Something strange, something wasn't right. The next thing I knew, Mion and Rina were smiling thinly and their eyes were dark and muddy in a way I've never seen them before. And as our eyes met, their mud seemed to fit the air. Satoko's uncle is an awful person with no doubt. I think it would be better with him gone just as much as you do. But he's here. There's nothing we can do about it, right? Nothing we can do? Something's strange. Something's wrong. Something's clearly wrong here. What the hell was happening? After a moment, a chilly liquid-like feeling, as though my blood had been mixed with a sherbet, rolled up my spine. No choice, I mean, of course there isn't, but then Satoko will never... If there's no choice, what would you do? Rina was trying to prompt me to say more. There's really no choice, so I killed him. I killed him to protect Satoko. That's, leave him alone. I think things will resolve themselves soon enough. What does that mean? Satoko said her uncle was here, so he's here. He was here yesterday and he's here today. She said so it's fine, right? Mion and Rina were speaking unbelievably dismissively. How could they be talking like this? Mion and Rina, they were my friends and destroyed by Satoka's abuse, weren't they? They would never bloodtest something like this, and I definitely killed Satoka's uncle. No matter what Satoka or anyone else says, I wouldn't acknowledge it because him being alive was impossible. There's no way he was alive. It was impossible. It's still, since Satoka herself said he was there and that he was alive, I didn't know why or how, but suddenly Mion and Rina were at my side, standing there silently. Let's go home, Ki-chan. After we leave, Rina wants to go treasure hunting for the first time in a while. Mi-chan is coming too. Ki-chan, you should come along. Of course, you're not allowed to refuse. If words could freeze blood, then there was no doubt that they would freeze me solid. I could hear it, a layer of thin ice, the sound of all my muscles tensing. And with that, them close here by my side, we left the school as if they were police officers taking me away. They talked about silly things the entire way home, like they always did. But they always stood at my side as if to prevent me from escaping. This was strange. Everything about this day was strange. Actually, it had been strange ever since the previous night. Just thinking back, it's been strange ever since killing Satoga's uncle. That creepy meeting with Takano-san was only the beginning. And say now it's still continuing. Yes, it still hasn't ended. What? What's wrong, Ki-chan? Why did you suddenly stop? Ah, sorry, it's nothing. When I stopped, it was distant, but I definitely heard them. An extra set of footsteps. That was proof that Insane now hadn't ended. Mia left where she usually did and finally we came to my house. Oh, Kichi-kun, wait here for me. Rina will come to pick you up soon. What was it that she was inviting me along one of her oversized garbage treasure hunts at the dam, right? But why now? Mian continued coming along was strange too. Mian may have accepted Rina's little hobby, but she hated fishing through garbage. She'd never come with her before. And the location specifically being the dam site was a little creepy. The dam construction site was completely outside the flow of everyday life. It was so remote that no one ever went there unless they thought it to in particular. Nobody lived there and there was no light, so at night it got dark very quickly. I was being forcibly invited there. There's no reason I had to fear Rina and Mion. Besides, wouldn't the trouble I'd make by refusing them be a pain to deal with? In that way, it didn't seem like going treasure hunting with them was a bad idea, but that insane now was continuing. Having the silence of instinct been waiting in my mind for a while now. Warning me that Rina and Mion were strange. I needed to be cautious. The warning silence was so freaking loud it felt like my head would split in two. Ah, Rina, I actually have something to do. Something to do? Like what? Like what? I have something to do, okay? If you had something to do, why didn't you say to it while Mi-chan was here? I already told her to meet us at the dam site before we split up. Rina was smiling, but her words made her discomfort clear. Sorry, I just kind of missed the opportunity to say so. Really? You're lying, aren't you? You just made that up right now, you liar. That's what Rina's eyes said to me. Well, my head hurts, I might have a cold. So I wanted to get checked out and get some medicine. Really? That wasn't really a lie. My head did hurt a little bit, and so I wasn't lying. Rina, just couldn't figure out if my head hurt or not, just by looking at it. Then, I guess that's that. I'm just saying, staring me in the eyes for a few moments, she fired a sharp needle-like stare at me. The tension in my body loosened, and I felt like my knees might buckle. If you're going to the clinic, then you should go soon. Sometimes they close early. Thanks, I'll do that. Make sure you go, okay? To the hospital. I will. Go for real. I will. It seemed like Rina had realized that I was going to refuse her invitation for a while. With how serious she looked, she might actually call the clinic later to make sure I went. I couldn't say anything careless. Lying about getting checked out was just an excuse to decline a request in the first place. It didn't matter where I actually went. Yeah, I'll go. If you want, I can bring you the bill tomorrow. Oh, that would be good. Be sure to bring it, okay? Rina will look at it then. Another tingle started crawling up my back. There was no ignoring it. Rina and Mion must have been monitoring my movements. That wasn't normal, far from it. All of it was insane. I did what I did because I wanted my peaceful life back. But what on earth was all this? It was far from peaceful. Something had gone mad, leaving the world out of order. With the other Kichimabara, those creepy footsteps I've been hearing. With Rina and Mion acting so curious, and above all, with him being alive. Where was I? Himazawa village, Shinobone? I knew that much. Was this really the Himazawa I knew? Hey Kichimabara, where is this? I asked, whipping around the front door to face the one who'd been following me in my wake all day. Nobody would be there, of course. Kichimabara, huh? That's what I just called him, or the one who'd been training me this whole time. A shadowy presence always clinged to me, like it was constantly watching for the opportunity to change places. Footsteps always stuck following me was another impossibility. It couldn't have been a ghost, so it was just impossible. So the strangeness must have been my ears, my head, or Himazawa. Everything I could see was the exact Himazawa I knew, and that gave me the creeps. Eventually I decided to actually go to the clinic. I didn't want to go outside, but a stronger feeling than that desire was the fear that Rina might actually keep an eye on me, see if I went to the hospital. But before I went to the clinic, there was something I needed to make sure of. It was at school. I pretended I'd forgotten something, and I was going back to the classroom to pick it up. As soon as the thought crossed my mind, I was overwhelmed by paranoia. I was just going to the classroom, but I hated it so much, having to be careful to fake it. After carefully verifying once more that nobody was watching, I went over to the locker, Satoshi's locker. I committed the crime with the bat I found in this locker, Satoshi's bat, and then I had thrown the bat into the swamp, checking if it was there, which meant the bat shouldn't have been inside. But, what if the bat was still in there? It was a very dreadful, incomprehensible idea, but if it was true, it would explain a lot. If the bat was in there, yesterday's events would have all been delusions, no, an illusion. I hadn't killed anyone, and I had gone to the festival. I had a great time rampaging around with everyone. It would prove that Kichimabara was really me. Prove that I was under some strange assumption that I'd killed Sadoka's uncle. Prove that it had all been a wild fantasy. That would explain everything. Nothing had changed. Nothing happened yesterday. I had gone mad and able to separate my shocking uncle king dreams from reality. That would explain everything. If the bat was here, would I be able to accept that reality? If it was here, nothing will change. If it was here, it would just mean I've gone crazy. Preparing myself for the worst, I opened the locker door. I was actually scared of opening it slowly, so I threw it open with a bang. And just like the first time, the choking scent of smell, the choking scent of smell and sweat, like a stale towel, came flowing out. There was a baseball uniform and some miscellaneous other things like notebooks. There was also a shoe pouch, and for the bat, it wasn't here. Oh, it was how I left it when I took the bat out. There was no doubt yesterday really happened. Now that I knew I was a lunatic, I felt relieved. At the same time, if I wasn't the crazy one, then Himazawa was, and that was evidence of a reality I found just as difficult to accept. There was a noise somehow creeping into everything I saw, and the world was losing a tiny bit of color. So, what did I know about last night now? Now that I made sure the bat wasn't there, I didn't need to be here anymore. Shall I go? Reveal to the hospital? It's my first time going to the hospital, but from what I heard, it wasn't too far from school. Mom told me it was a big, easy to see road. Oh, went straight there. I went straight there. Okay. I went past the shopping district and made a turn. It wasn't overly hard to spot the sign with Ivy Clinic written on it. Ivy? There was one other person, an older man there, in the air-conditioned waiting room. You mean the coach guy? I went up to the counter and told them it was my first time here. The man behind the counter glanced at the clock and said there would be a short wait. It was almost 5. I think hours would be ending soon. As I sat in this unfamiliar waiting room isolated from everyone, I let myself feel the cool air. I actually felt relieved. I should tell the doctor when he comes. I could tell him I had a cold, but it was the very picture of health. Actually, I wanted him to check my head. I wanted somebody to confirm for me whether I was really sane or not. Kichimabara-san, please come into the examination room. Huh? The voice from the other side of the examination curtain. I thought I heard it somewhere before. Hello? This is your first time we've seen each other. Coach! Coach, you're a doctor? Now you mention it, he seemed to know his way around when he was looking at my shoulders in the nurse's office. It would make sense if he was actually a doctor. Come to think of it, our teacher called him Ivy-sensei, didn't she? Well, yes, I'm more or less a doctor here. Doctors are really good, you know. You get to see and touch all the young and silky smooth skin. I could inject them with chemicals and make them my slaves and have them be my personal maids. Thank you very much. Just seeing that made my cold go away. I'll be leaving now. Polite bow. Whoa, wait. Mabara-san? A joke, it was a joke. Come on, sit down and let me check on you. I need to use my stethoscope, so show me your silky smooth chest. For some reason I felt really relieved. After that insane night, as much as I thought everything had gone crazy, Coach was here doing the same thing as he always did. I was really happy for that. You don't seem to have a cold. Actually, the scrapes and cuts all over you seem to be the painful thing. Don't tell me you're playing in the bushes with some short sleeves and shorts. I mean, I can't say for sure you haven't been infected with tinnitus. As I was chasing the man last night, I kept being scraped by bits and trees. I didn't realize I got so many cuts. You went a little crazy at the festival yesterday. Enjoy that while you're young. And once again, apparently I went to the festival. Coach, did you go too, to the festival? Yes, of course I did. I may be a doctor, but I'm also on the Higurashi Executive Committee. Did you see me there? The coach was the same coach that I'd always known, and I felt like I could trust him more than my weird friends, so I asked him. Well, actually, I was drinking in the main tent with the chairman and the others. At the whole time, I didn't go out to the festival at all. I don't think I saw you. Oh, that was a strange question. Did you have too much to drink and forgot what happened last night? Underage drinking is too bad. Is underage drinking too, you bad child? Coach let out a laugh. He didn't laugh in a natural way like me and Rena did. Coach was okay. He was the coach from the world I knew. He wasn't somebody from this abnormal world. Well, this all might seem a little weird for you, but I want you to hear me out without laughing. Yes, go ahead. I greatly welcome any shy, bashful worries you might have as you come into your secondary sex characteristics. Could it possibly be that I have an identical twin? Coach hadn't expected that question at all and couldn't say anything for a moment, but then he smiled calmly and quietly answered. This is just superstition, but I've heard before that everyone had two people in the world who looks just like them. If there was, I'd be certain I'd like to meet him, though. And there are plenty of fairy tales where a person's double appears. The German ones about doppelgangers are probably the most famous doppelgangers. Yes, they look exactly like another person. Apparently they, held misfortune. If you meet one, you're sure to die soon. I think that's how it went. When you meet them, you're sure to die soon. The story ended in death, plain and simple. It made my spine tingle. Coach wasn't saying it to scare me though. It was just offering casual anecdote, but that made it all the more real. Have you ever heard of one of those things showing up in Himizawa? What? Well, I can't say that I have. Coach must have thought I was just trying to tease him, so he laughed in an exaggerated way. When I didn't smile along with him, his laughter steadily grew fainter. I'm sorry, well, I was sort of serious. No, I apologize for laughing. Was there something you were worried about? I wondered if I should tell him, then after resolving myself one more time I finally spoke. I didn't go to the festival yesterday. Is that right? Well, there will be one next year, and then you can... That's not what I meant. I didn't go to the festival, but according to everyone else, I was there. Could that even be possible? After blinking his eyes in amazement, and Coach thought seriously about what he was going to say, what I was trying to say. and he answered choosing his words carefully. Let me make sure I have this straight. Mabata-kun, you went to the Higurashi festival but don't remember, am I right? I was trying to say something completely different, but I suppose to the same person that would be the conclusion. That night Kichi was actually at the festival, but I was saying I didn't go. That obviously meant my memory of going had failed me, but that absolutely wasn't possible. The vivid act I had committed during the downpour couldn't possibly have been an illusion. All the scrapes on my body prove it, as does the fact the bat was in my locker. No, that's not it, Coach. I really didn't go to the festival. If you don't take offense for Bali-san, have you ever had an experience where you were suddenly somewhere unfamiliar and you couldn't remember why? No, and I didn't lose my memories or anything, because while the festival was going on, I was definitely doing something else. It wasn't like I was asleep or unconscious or anything. You're certain you were doing something else? I know I'm being awfully rude. Are you sure you're not mistaken? I know I'm not. My memories are clear as day and they are real. During the festival, you went to the shrine and you were somewhere else. Can you definitely prove that? That's right. Thinking about it, though, brought me to this. There's only one way to prove that I really wasn't at the festival. And that was to show them that I killed their uncle. Coach showed me shrugging tremendous and his eyes looked a little cold. I guess they would. After all, from Coach's perspective, I was just a weirdo spurting nonsense. Would you like to lay down? Maybe you should relax and take it easy. Sorry, I didn't really come here to lay down. You seem to be worked up a little. Why don't I give you a little sedative that'll let you sleep for a bit? That way, no, I'm not being strange. Coach seemed to realize he was treating me like a deviant, and he raised his voice. I apologize if I've offended you, but please calm down. I definitely didn't go to the festival, that's the truth. I understand, so please calm down, take a breath. No, you don't understand at all. Coach was stunned and stared in, stupefaction. I do understand, Mabata-san. You didn't go to the festival yesterday, is that right? I believe you. I believe you. Coach jotted down a brief note on his records. He was writing it in German, but his patient wouldn't know what he said. But I could make a good guess to what he wrote. You won't believe me until I tell you everything I was doing at the time, will you? No, I believe you. I don't know about that. Please sit down. Before I sat, I tilted my head back a little. The blood in my face all drained out, and I quieted down. Taking a deep breath, I made sure that I was calm now. It would have been impossible for me to be at the festival, because at the time I was... Should I tell him or not? I really don't want to go on living like this, feeling horrible like this, and if I said the final words, because I was killing Satoga's uncle at the time, I could smell the concrete in the room, I could feel the air around us sharpen. Nobody moved. Only the sound of the clock ticking told us time had to stop. His mouth was wide open. Coach even forgot to blink for a little while. You killed Satoga's uncle? Yeah. It's fine now, Kichimabara. Don't hesitate. And admit with all your strength, yes. Last night I did it. I killed him. I spoke clearly and fluently. I could easily tell Coach's mind had gone completely blank. Why would you? No, that was a foolish question. I believe it was the most direct way of saving Satoga, so I carried it out. I don't have any regrets. I see. Coach smiled thinly and nodded a bit. So I couldn't have been at the festival. I left the brightness of my house for the dark of the outside. After that, I dug holes and made phone calls and I had my hands full. Then I attacked him, killed him, and buried him. It was pouring hard at the time. The festival started that evening, but was suspended due to the rain. There was no gaps in my memory. From the late afternoon until it started raining, there was no time for me to possibly have gone to the festival. And those ruins, are they from that? Yes, there's a road through the forest near Satoga's house. I attacked him there. He ran, but I chased him and finally killed him near the road that leads to town. Is that true? Killing your uncle, it wasn't some wild fantasy. I could tell Coach didn't believe me, so I spoke slowly and not letting myself go excited. It's true, I killed him with Satoshi's bat. I threw it and the uncle's motorbike into the swamp, and I dug a hole and killed him and buried him. I did it all by myself. Satoga's uncle drove past you on a motorbike, did he? Then you predicted he would do that and just waited? I assumed he wouldn't be leaving his house that day, so I lied to him over the phone to get him out. You called him? But your house is so far away from Satoga's house, Chance. I wouldn't think you'd be able to make it there after calling him. I used the phone closer to where I was going to attack him, the one at the school. But Mabara-san, it was Sunday, when the school had been locked up. A forest ranger happened to go inside for a bit. I slipped in while I had the chance. After that, Coach grilled me in on a few different things regarding the incident. He made sure to question me carefully, looking for any contradictions in my account. I'll believe you. What you did yesterday doesn't seem like a dream. I explained everything, including minor details that only somebody who could actually commit the act could explain. I could, of course. It was only yesterday. Coach realized that my story had no, expedient coincidences or too convenient details. They would have, explained it in a daydream or delusion. I finally seemed to want to believe me. So do you still think I went to the festival and lost my memory? Coach slowly shook his head. For everyone in my class, they said I was at the festival yesterday. Is that even possible? No, it's not. Your classmates probably mistook you for someone else who looks very similar. Then given how group psychology works, everyone just assumed that you had been at the festival. You couldn't have mistaken me. Granted, everyone else said they were spending time with Kichi Mabara. It was probably more than just having mistaken someone else for me. Saying it out loud would just confuse Coach. He spoke to me in whispered tones. Do you feel guilty at all? It didn't sound like he was criticizing me. And if it had, I would have flatly said the same thing. I don't. I did it so I could return the peaceful days that he'd stolen from us. So I planned to forget all about the killing him and live my life as usual. Once the Toko smiles returns, the one day from before he showed up, everything would be finally over. Any chance that somebody witnessed the crime? I don't think so. If somebody had seen me, I would have been arrested already. I'm a doctor, my job is to save lives, so I cannot make any statements to the effort of condoning the act of taking one's life. So instead I would say this. Coach slowly rose and placed a hand on my shoulder. For saving Mr. Toko, I thank you. Coach's eyes started shedding warm tears. When I looked at him, I started to feel some tears of my own. I didn't know what I was crying for, and so a little late while the two men in the room fought back their tears. But it's strange. What is? I'm not sure I killed him, and yet he seems to have returned home alive. Coach's expression immediately sharpened. Depending on the situation, there are many ways that mere unconsciousness can look like real death to a lame person. Do you think it's possible that he was just knocked out? I didn't check for a pulse, but I'm pretty sure I did him in. Can I ask you to reproduce a situation in which you attacked him about san? Coach, rolled up a fitness week poster nearby and offered it to me to represent the bat. There may have been lost in emotion of a beast that night. I remember in details the number of times I swung it, the angle I'd swung from, and the force I'd applied. Using Coach as a stand-in from the uncle, I reproduced him over and over and over. And when he tripped and fell, I bashed him in the top of the head like this, and when I did, it felt different from the other strikes. I thought I'd cracked his skull. Coach was calmly analyzing information using the place I'd struck and the situation at hand to find out what state the uncle's body had been in. I wasn't totally sure he'd been dead, so I hit him a few times after he fell. Did he react at all? At first, I sort of felt his body jolting with every hit. Eventually that stopped too, and he didn't react at all. Coach folded his arms and said a few times. And then he spoke. He's dead. There's not much doubt about it. He didn't just look like he was. I can't say very much from just your story about his time, but I think it's almost certain. Besides, you buried him in the mud, and that took quite a long time, right? Let's say it took you 30 minutes. That would mean he was buried with the muddy water for those 30 minutes. If you don't breathe for that long, your brain will die no matter what. You mean even ignoring how hard I hit him, he would definitely have died when I was burying him. That's right. It's impossible to stay alive buried underground for 30 minutes. Impossible, you're right. But the Tokoshi says he's alive. The coach, a doctor, just gave his stamp of approval that he was dead for sure. That made it seem all the more unfamiliar that he could still be among the living. Mabara-san, this is a really horrible idea, but is it possible that the person you killed wasn't actually her uncle? Huh? He's right, that could be why. It cleared up the inconsistency of my definitely having killed someone for him being alive. There's no way. I mean, we were both at Satoka's house when she was bringing him alcohol in, and there was a man stuck his face out in the window to look. It was him, right? That was Satoka's uncle, right? Yes, you're not wrong. It was that man. Could she have more than one uncle or something? No, never heard anything of it. It was just him. Could you tell me what he looked like? Well, his height first. He was about 175 centimeters, maybe a little taller. In order to eliminate the possibility that killed someone else, Coach began to thoroughly compare what the man in my mind looked like with the one I told him and the person I killed looked like. But no matter how in-depth my description went, none of the characteristics differed. The uncle's traits according to Coach were all the exact same as the person I killed. But those traits were extremely vague and they weren't particularly distinct at a glance. Did I kill someone else? Is there anything else about him that would tell us about his identity for sure? Now that you mention it, I've never seen it, but I believe Satoga's once said a long time ago that a tattoo, a tiger or something on his back, a tattoo, that was really important. Not everyone had a tattoo. If I found a tiger tattoo on the back of the man's corpse, it would definitely prove that I killed the right one. At the moment, though, there was only one other thing that would verify this. You go to Satoga's house and see for myself. The uncle had returned home and despite having been dead. But that was far too terrifying than digging up the body and looking at his back. Without even looking at the tattoo, I knew for sure the one I'd killed had been Satoga's uncle. I cracked his skull open and killed him, and yet he's gone back home. There wasn't any misunderstanding or even the shadow of doubt in my mind about having killed him, and yet it was impossible for him to exist. Kind of like how Kichimabara had been at the festival despite being impossible. A small commodity made me feel as though a faint but bizarre force was permeating this insane Himizawa. I wonder, what on earth could have happened? Despite having gone to the uncle and killing Satoga's uncle, you were at the festival and the uncle you killed is alive. None of this makes any sense. When I look at it that way, it's almost like I'm having a nightmare and there's no killer at all, but it's the truth. The sensation I had as I used my own hands and the bat, bashing him over again and again, it was no illusion or real or dream. Goes let out a slow sigh, then after looking at the clock got up. Let's go over this a little more seriously. If you'll excuse me, I'll put on some tea. I think it's about to close after all. I sound kind of insane, but whatever. After all, I need to let the other employees leave. Coach stood up and went down into the hallway, leaving me alone. The coach's clock was about to strike 6. I was at the festival and the uncle I killed was alive. Did I really commit a murder yesterday? The only whisper of a fact that proved it happened was the absence of the bat from Satoshi's locker. In any case, I was glad that Coach had taken my nonsense seriously. I just confessed to murder. Normally that would frighten a person away. But Coach didn't run, he cried with me. I was glad he did. Like so, my tension smoothly melted away, and I suddenly realized I had to urinate. I thought to use the restroom while Coach had stepped out. There was one across from the waiting room. Just as I left the room, I saw Coach and 2 other male doctors wearing white coats, standing in the shadows of the hallway nearby. I didn't particularly intend to eavesdrop or anything, but I was quite surprised upon noticing how uneasy they seemed. I hid behind the wall and quietly listened in. My coach was giving direction to the other 2 doctors. Black tea? I'll make some. Mix in, aberration or whatever, Cover the taste with milk and sugar. You may go suspicious at the sudden onset of drowsiness. It's possible you may get agitated and become violent. We will handle it. How many male staffs are still here? 1 mountain dog, including us 3. What was all this? I think I was being agitated. I think I was already agitated, despite what Coach said. Was that it? Was it just a casual conversation about what? And it was only something unbelievable to me. Coach said he would bring black tea and left the room. And then in the shadows he was telling his subordinates to put a sleeping powder in the black tea. Plus they were gonna need extra help in case I thought the sleepiness was suspicious and started getting violent. Hey wait, Kichimabara, calm down. There's no way something this stupid can be happening. I mean, he was genuinely listening to my story and even cried with me. I thought he was the only person in Himizawa who would understand. There was signs of fabrication of falsehoods. His memories of yesterday in particular are completely confused. You can no longer tell truth and falsehood. It's quite similar to multiple personality disorder, but as for how quickly this mental disorder emerged, it's just not normal. Maybe it's inborn, or maybe there were signs of it before he moved here. I'd like to take a look at any records of him staying at a mental hospital before he moved here. In any case, I want him to take a quick, quiet nap. The 2 doctors nodded deeply. I should probably contact Mabara-kun's parents too, though I can't think of what to tell them. Please find his home number for me. My eyes grew still moist, began to shed tears once more. This was too cruel. I really thought he'd actually understood and believed what I told him. But now, from the other side of the wall, he was bluntly treating me like a crazy person. I believed you, I believed you. I had to let my guard down because I thought you were the only one, you were the only ally I had after that insane night. Well, I can't go anywhere, I can't go home, I'm kinda just screwed. Was that a lie? All that about taking me out to Doug's behalf, were you just pretending it in order to keep me complacent? Ugh, my tears went to the ground in frustration. I was an idiot. I was an idiot. I was such an idiot for believing that bastard. I heard footsteps approaching the door, the doctor's. A man in a dress shirt with no tie came running up. Dr. Ivy, it's terrible. They found Takana-san. Takana-san? Wait, where? Well, apparently they discovered her burnt corpse in the Mount Gufu. She's dead? Takana-san? The men all surprised exchanged glances. Dead? Takana-san? Hey, wait, so then, does that mean when I cursed her, wishing for a death that wish was granted? What do you mean burned corpse? Was it an accident? According to the Gufu police statement, the possibility extremely high that she was murdered. As I cried, I laughed quietly. Serves you right, serves you right. If I had arranged that woman, murder would have been perfect. But she had just had to come driving up to me and try to accost me like that. I regret not having killed her at the spot, but now she was dead anyway. My wish for her demise was fulfilled. Serves you right, serves you right. Risa-san died and Takana-san died. What on earth could be happening in Himazara? Risa-san, who's that? Don't tell me that this was Orishida-sama's curse for this year. Like hell, let the curse reveal code said. Everyone present just noticed that Code's curse had no one in particular. Yes, maybe it wasn't Orishida-sama's curse, but this was definitely a spell, a curse. A wish for her death, so she died. So she did. If this wasn't just a coincidence and she died because I wished for it, then you'll die next, Coach. You betrayed me. You pretended to believe me, but deep down you thought I was a madman. You looked down on me with all the pity in your eyes. For now, get some black tea ready. I'll bring it inside. I don't think he'll let anyone besides me be alone with him. Shit. What do I do? What do I do, Kichibara? This time I heard the voices of a nurse. Dr. Ivy, oh, there you are. You have a phone call. Phone call? I'm a little busy at the moment. Please tell them I'll call back. Who's it from? Mr. Ushi from the Akinomiya Police Department. Ah, sheesh, what bad timing. Alright, I'll answer it. I can escape her, maybe. Coach left to go answer the phone. The other men headed towards the room with the teapot to make black tea like Coach had ordered them to. Fortunately, Coach having to take that phone call meant that there would be extra time for me to act. I had to decide what to do now. Would I let him make me drink the sedative infused tea, or be held down and thrown into a mental hospital? Nothing would come from starting a brawl here. They had more people anyway, and they were all bigger than me. If they came to a fight, I didn't stand a chance in hell. If I couldn't win against them, then there was only one thing left to do: run. Adrenaline suddenly rushed into my brain, and my body started to move with keen instinct like it had on that night. My surface temperature cooled, and the transmission route between my cells enlarged. Using a 160 degree visual information, I searched for an escape route. I would open the window behind me. Aside was a parking lot. There was no cars. Except beyond that, there was the bicycle I'd taken to get here. It determined this would be the quickest means to escape. I approached the window swiftly, but with this sound, to raise as little suspicion as I could. With the speed and silence of a shadow like I had on that night, I chased the uncle. I unlocked the window and opened it up. A cool breeze wafted in. I stuck my head out and looked out the parking lot again. Nobody in sight. No need to hesitate. I quietly crawled outside and closed the window behind me. I had my breath and silently listened carefully. Nobody seemed to have realized I'd run. I looked around, and then I jumped on my bicycle and zoomed away. The pedal clattered under the force. Had my bike always creak like this? The pedals always whine every time I pushed on them. The bike wasn't the only one crying though. My tears fell as the wind cut through them. They rode the breeze and scattered behind me. I hate this. I'm not the crazy one Himazara is. How dare they treat me like a madman? Die. Just fucking die already. I believed you, I believed you. Ugh. I've gone to the hospital in order to escape Mina and Mia's invitation, but the cruel reality that was weighing me had been too cruel. Who, who was insane, me or Himizawa? Was the answer something else? I started having trouble breathing. I didn't have any clues what was happening anymore. Loud chirps of the Higurashi was irritating me. Uh, where even the Himizawa Higurashi I knew so well calling in the wind. No, that wasn't quite it. They weren't calling. They were crying. The pained wails of those lost in some kind of rhythm. Another world no longer able to return to their own sunlight. I didn't do all that to end up in a world like this, and actually, at that time I might have been having fun with everyone else. Satoko would have gone back with a smile after realizing Uncle wouldn't come back, and he might have shown it to us at our first club meeting in a while. That was the kind of world I wished for. So what was this? Why did I end up in such a strange, ghastly world? Someone I've killed was living like normal, and I had enjoyed myself at the festival despite not being there. I don't want it. I don't want this strange world. When did it go wrong? When? No matter how much I thought about it, I never understood. I rode swiftly and returned to my house. It had begun to rain during my journey back. Just like yesterday, I was now soaked. But I didn't care about something so trivial right now. The pain I felt in my heart, like Coach, the one I trusted, was actually so cruelly, was far worse. Did I have no others than Himizawa anymore? Or did I even thought that I had at least once to my parents just side with me? I stepped up to the front door. Wait, Kichi. It'll be dark soon. There's something you wanted to check, right? What, the body? Yes, I wanted to dig up the man's corpse and get a look at his back. If there was a tiger tattoo there, I would know without doubt that he was Satoko's uncle. That long night wouldn't end until I was certain. And this insane world was all, reputation, all a divine punishment. Then, I need to make certain whoever I had been successful enough to even deserve to pay that price. I went to the storage room again and got the shovel. It had been washed in the rain, but the paint was peeling, making it look unsightly. I never even wanted to touch that thing again. The sensation of it on my hand was totally different from the night before. There was a ruthlessly coldness about it. Yeah, it would be dark soon. I needed a lantern too. There would be a little bit of light from the street lights, but it would be extremely dark. I thought I'd put a lantern here, but suddenly noticed it wasn't anywhere to be found. Then it hit me like a bolt of lightning. Of course, on that night I hadn't brought the lantern back with me. I left it at the place I buried the body. If I didn't get to it soon, it'd be very dark soon. And then not only would I have been able to find the spot I buried the corpse, but I wouldn't even be able to find the lantern itself. If that happened, it would all be over. I need to hurry. In order to find the shovel into the basket on the front of my bike, I needed to twist it and dismantle it. But it looked like there was dirt in the joint, and no matter how hard I pushed, it didn't want to come apart. And after a strenuous effort, I realized I couldn't get it apart, so I decided to hold it in one hand and ride the bike with the other. With how damp was soaking me through, and a shovel in one hand and riding one hand, it was as if I'd returned to that night. No, return was the wrong word. It was more like that night had never stopped. The pain of the raindrops striking me were no different from then. The thing that was different was Himizawa. The world was nothing else. The rain clouds were already making it dark, and now it was about the time for the sun to set. I could tell it would only get rapidly darker. The straight road into town, in the middle of it, that should have been where I buried it. It's kind of weird I haven't got Higurashi when they cry yet. Yes, it was near the streetlight, and that night too, the water from the downpour was splashing down from the streetlight overhang like a waterfall. The pouring rain was exactly the same as it had been that night, and thus it brought my memory into focus. I left my bike in the bush and stepped into the forest, the ground already soaked in mud. Where had I buried him? Think. The darkness, the shadows, the water, the mud. Everything was exactly the exact same. Think. And then I spotted the lantern by a fallen moss tree. That's right, I left it here. If I left the lantern here then, I would have buried him over here. With the sensation of standing in the sludge, my feet remembered the spot before then my eyes did. I plunged my shovel into the ground. It's hard. It wasn't here. I just dug it up, so it should have been softer. I stuck my shovel on a few spots to test what they felt like. One of them clearly felt deeper. What cool with the lantern was the trees and the things in relation to each other were. I knew that had to be here. Under here slept the man's corpse. That would definitely be the tattoo of a tiger on his back. But if it wasn't here, then I had made a horrible mistake and killed someone completely unrelated instead. I would be more dazed at the fact that Stoker's uncle wasn't dead, and that then I would regret having gotten someone else mixed up in this. This insane world was punishment for the sin of committing murder. I wouldn't be able to accept it until I've killed Stoker's uncle for good, and then without any fear I would attack him again. At that time, I would kill him for sure. But what if the tattoo was there? That would mean I've killed Stoker's uncle, but that would be terribly strange. I killed him for sure then. He was Stoker's uncle at Stoker's house at the moment. Impossible. I don't even know anymore what I was using the word impossible to refer to. I would use the word quite a few times today. If I had to make the words impossible for just one thing, what would it be? That much was obvious to me. It would be impossible for this crazy word to be real. I shouted and turned behind me. There was nobody there, of course. It hadn't bothered me for a while, but those footsteps had followed me the entire day. Even just now, a few extra footsteps had flashed behind me. Nobody was actually there, no indication of anyone even. But they were there. Who are you? You've been following me ever since I came to this world. That's right. Thinking back, the first time I heard those footsteps was after Takana-san and I parted ways. Those footsteps were my welcome into this strange, inside-out world. Nobody could be there. I got no response. Whoever it was just staring at me. It wasn't ominous, just unpleasant. After staring into emptiness for a while, as I waited in the way my logical anger slipped away, my tension loosened and a feeling reared its head. I tasted this feeling that night too. In sudden exhaustion, I felt the tension in my brain loosen. Vision quickly narrowed and I felt like everything around me was suddenly growing darker. I couldn't give to the sensation. Over light, what little explosives were left in my brain, I forced myself to keep going. I needed to take that man up before my stamina ran out. I needed to see the tattoo on his back. I caught my firm ragged breath and calmed down. Then I stuck the shovel into the soft, muddy ground again. It felt exactly the same as that night. The sensation of digging a hole at the beach with water coming in with every wave. What day was today? Had I gone back to the night of Higurashi? Every strange thought that came to my mind tormented me. Given my exhaustion, I didn't think I could manage to hold those thoughts back. Once the hole was deep, and illumination finally faded, and blanketed my vision in jet black. It was probably the moment the sun had finally set too. Then I had feared the worst and gone without much light. My senses were so strained I could see even in the darkness, but now I didn't have any strength left. I drained everything I had last night, and now the darkness would be lethal. I decided to turn on the lantern. Putting it on this first setting would give a faint light. Even with how little there was enough. People wouldn't be able to see it from far away in the terrain. I grabbed the chill lantern and turned the dial with a click, setting the speaker setting and turned it on. An uncanny world of silhouettes appeared before me. A complex, strange, shadowy world created by the an initiate tangled of trees and branches. Then we turned on the light and it was like that was all it took for the water to turn into something else. I let out a quick tired breath. I wanted this liquid neither rain nor sweat from my brow. Then I raised the shovel into the air and slammed it into the mud. That moment, the silhouettes surrounded me ominously and all moved at once. Inside my head something packed in there, something forced but not hot or cold was largely rushing. Silhouettes were all around me looking down on me, and one of the silhouettes bigger than the others stepped forward. Good evening. The moon sure is beautiful tonight. The coarseness in my brain shot through my whole spine and left me at my waist. Circled my body or left me through my hips, and I crashed down with a splash into the sea and I dug myself. Oh, Ushi? Is that really how you address your elders? You'll have a rough time of it once you become an adult. It wasn't Ushi-san, but 5 or 6 of them in a row wearing raincoats. I don't think that this many people had gotten so close. It was likely Once I turned on my lantern, they just appeared, sliding out of the shadows. Please don't mind us. Just think of us as trees in the forest, perhaps. Don't mind them. Yes. Pay no attention to us. Please continue digging your hole. It was very late and raining very hard, and you're working previously. We won't get in your way. Please continue digging to your heart's content. No thank you, I said. When I tried to get up and turn around, the two men blocked that route. They stood on either side and lifted me up with amazing strength, threw me to the sea of mud. Wow. As I soaked in the mud, I looked above myself. I looked up the silhouettes that looked directly down on me. She squatted and picked up a shovel and threw it at my feet. It bounced out of the mud and hit me in the face. Ow. Come. Please continue. Continue. I couldn't bear the oppressiveness of the silhouettes surrounding me. And slowly I stuck this shovel into the mud again. I felt like I was digging my own grave. If I kept digging, it wouldn't matter whether there was a tattoo or not, because that man's corpse would appear eventually. It was all over. Surrounded on all sides, I know where to go, but I just couldn't figure it out no matter how much I thought about it. Why were they here? Was it Takano-san? There was only one person who could have made the connection between me and this place. Shit, I knew she deserves to die. Stopping so soon. Ugh. Bam. She kicked me in the back, but she took me by surprise, sending me lying into the mud. Man, I really hate Ushi. Hurry up and dig, please. You really should consider the fact that some of us are standing out here in the rain. Fuck you. If you don't like the rain, then just go home. Gah. Ushi kicked me some mud in my face. The work please instead of talking. Only people from the red light district could do both at once. Isn't that right, boys? The men around him didn't react, not knowing quite whether they should laugh, but then when Ushi glared at them, they started mumbling out panicked chuckles. Just who was this guy? I knew the world changed after that night, but if I went further back, didn't it start when this guy showed up? That was when our peaceful days had taken a turn for us. Ever since it showed up became bizarre, when things had been odd. Everyone stopped smiling and the world went crazy. Ha ha. The world under my feet gradually got harder and heavier. At this point, you and I started to think something was odd. I hadn't buried him this deep that night, had I? My exhaustion peaked and I sat down on the spot. How long do you want me to dig? Kids these days have no stamina. Hey you. At Ushi's gesture, all the men all pulled out their own sinister looking shovels. As I watched the blaze, one of them grabbed my collar and dragged me out of the hole and threw me to the ground. The rest of the men stepped into the hole I dug and started shoveling themselves. As I stared at them, dumbfounded, Ushi slanted over and squatted down to look directly at me. Kichi Mabara, is this a hobby of yours, digging holes on rainy nights? When I didn't respond, Ushi took one of the tin buckets that they were using to bail out the muddy water, scooped some of it out and splashed the whole thing in my face. Cough, cough, cough. The rain's heavy today too. No matter how wet I get, I still understand the appeal. Ushi smiled to himself and then scooped up another bucket full of muddy water. I'll ask you again, is digging holes on a rainy night your hobby? Who the hell would have a hobby like that? Splash. Ushi hit me with a bucket full of muddy water. The pebbles in it stung. Would there be something in that hole? I've always liked that story, you know, about the old man who could make plants bloom and the puppy sticking in his yard for gold. As he spoke, he ran the bucket through the muddy water again, to splash it into my face again. What kind of treasure is buried there down there? Can't you at least give me a hint? If you want to know, then dig on your own time, fucking pig. I wasn't saying that out loud, but Ushi mercilessly drenched me in water again anyway. Shit, shit, shit. If only Florian hadn't shown up, the world wouldn't have gone so wrong. Ever since you showed up, things have gone awful. Totoko got abused by Uncle, I ended up killing him, and then the world went crazy. He was how it all began, because of this culprit. I splashed another bucket of water in my face. Insides was seething with anger. Die, you die too. If I had some strange power to kill somebody by cursing them, like with the Takano-san, then you're dead. And it won't be Orishida-sama's curse. It'll be mine. I curse you. I'll kill you. What a rebellious look you're wearing. Why don't you reuse the opportunity to teach you a thing or two in that regard? We really do live in a peace these days. When I was your age, corporal punishment was the norm for everything. Ushi-san, one of the digging men in the raincoat, wiped some sweat and called Ushi over. Ushi tossed the bucket away, then turned around with an evil grin on his face. Yes, what is it? Please look at this. acceptance or my registration. Ow, I wanted to say to them, so you blockheads finally found it. Ow, yeah, that's right, I'm the one who killed him. But you're the police, so it's your own job to figure out who he is, right? Come on, prove it to me that he's the Toko's real uncle. What on earth? You think it's an old drainage pipe? It seems to be connected to the irrigation channel over there. Let's smash the thing. It's not being used, is it? The men will exchange glances, then hesitantly portion of the topic. Ushi-san, the grounds down there is pretty hard. I don't think anything's deeper than this. Did we get the location wrong? No. At first it definitely felt like the place had been dug before. But after digging so far, the ground suddenly hardened. We think we've gone down further than the hole that was originally dug. So what does that mean? There was a hole here and somebody filled it up? Is that what you're trying to tell me? What? What were they talking about? Nah, ha ha ha. Well, I'm at a loss, aren't you, Obata-san? You should grab my collar and drag me to the hole they dug. The mud inside was like an ocean. I couldn't see any drainage pipe down there. One of the men stirred it with a shovel, letting me hear it clang against something hard. There was no doubt I'd buried him right there, but I hadn't buried him that deep, and I didn't dig deep enough to unearth the entire drainage pipe. So then, this man, his corpse, where was it? Proof that I'd been successful on that night was gone, gone, gone. Then what on earth was I? Was I actually crazy after all? Just possessed by the delusion that I killed someone? That couldn't be. It was an unmistakable truth. It couldn't have been a hallucination. But now, the most important evidence that I hadn't been an illusion was gone. I killed him. I buried him. I had absolutely unwavering confidence in that fact. Then did I fail to kill him? After I left him here, had he started breathing again, crawled out, and gone to Artist Satoko's house? Was that it? His corpse got up like in the last chapter. I had come here to see it, whether he had a tattoo or not, and yet the truth I uncovered was far more than that. Yesterday, what was I? I killed him. I buried him. There was no doubt. But for some reason, he lived and crawled back out. And that was impossible too. I'm tired of hearing the word impossible over and over. I get it. If people don't like to play by the rules here in Himbazawa, then I'll kill you as many times as I need to. I'll keep killing you until you show your face to Shotoko again. Ushi and the others were muttering to each other. Eventually the conversation ended and Ushi came over to me. What did he want to say? What did he want to do? I stiffered, tensing up, and then Ushi just ignored me like I wasn't even there and passed right by me. The other men too, they all ignored me and shuffled away. Eventually there was no sign of anyone else was around, and I returned to my quiet world of silhouettes. The only one there was me, and I really hate Ushi. Only the sound of the pouring rain filled up the silence. Higurashi? Was that just a really long thingy, or is it gonna be like another section too? No, that's just a really long thing, okay? Inquiry request and record of malice. Game. Gone, not game. I turned up nothing. Akinomiya Police Station, Command Center, a transmission recording, June 20th, 8:08 p.m. This is the Akinomiya Police Station. We reach you loud and clear. Hello, we'd like you to look up a license plate for us. XX, X dash XXXX. XX dash X, no, XX, comma, X dash XXXX. Alright. Please give us just a moment and look it up. Thank you. Number match. Yes, I'm not gonna say that again. Owner. Address, Himazawa Village Cinnabone. Vehicle, mark, make a number. Model. Wow, this is perfect. It just tells me nothing. Special mentions. Nothing of note. Akinomiya, a security police to Ushi. We found the license plate from earlier. Ushi, do you read? Ushi, please respond. Am I getting a bad signal? Anyone in Ushi's car, please read. Nothing, eh? Ushi wants the license plate checked. Whose car was it? Somebody from the village. And a completely average car. Who was it? If Ushi was asking then, it can't be anything good, right? The special mentions column is completely blank. No identification. no indication is related to the scoop either, and no demets on it either. Maybe passed him on the road and he got mad. That guy isn't the type to forget a grudge. Hmm. Ushi's not here. Does that mean he's dead? That's good. Record of malice. He said it smelled. He said the food smelled. He said it smelled because it smelled because I smelled. He said I smelled because I didn't take baths. He said to take baths 3 times a day because I was a smelly person. He said I had to stay in the bath for a long time every time. He must be possessed by something too. This is the same thing the man said who died said. Why does he know what the man said before? That much is obvious. The same thing that possessed that man is now possessing him. Can't an earthquake make a big hole in front of this house? If it did, he would definitely go and look into it, and then I would just push him into it, and then I would give in till I got that chance. I won't give in, I won't cry. I won't give in, I won't cry. Oh, somebody's apologizing again. Wonder what that's about. I don't know. Anyway, that should be it for this chapter, chapter 11. Guess I didn't kill him? Oh, I did and he just got up. I'm gonna go with I didn't kill him and he just got up because I'm not insane. Bye bye.